Can you hear the church bells echoing in your mind? It's not a call to salvation, it's a prophecy of slaughter to come. On October 1st, 1553, Mary Tudor, a devout Catholic, ascended the English throne, with ambitions to heal the religious wounds that had split the kingdom. But her coronation wasn't a promise of peace. It was the prelude to a bloody tragedy. As the crowds cheered under the gray skies, expectations of religious unity were swiftly crushed by harsh reality. Mary was raised with the belief that only Catholicism could save her nation's soul. Yet that devotion quickly morphed into obstinacy. She viewed Protestant reforms as a plague needing eradication. In her heart, there was no room for negotiation or compromise. From documents surviving that era, we know that even as Mary was crowned, she privately vowed, "I shall cleanse England with my own fires." This wasn't just rhetoric. With steely resolve, Mary set about reversing the religious reforms initiated by her father, Henry VIII. The hunt for heretics began silently, but ferociously. Indictments were inked in black and red blood. For those who dared oppose her, their fates were sealed long before they could plead for mercy. Then came the public executions, Mary's clearest message yet. Blood spilled onto London streets like a crimson river, each drop a reminder that the religious unity she dreamed of would not come through grace, but through terror. Records from this period reveal Mary believed only in pain as the path for the lost to return to God. But this only deepened the schism among believers. Ultimately, Mary herself became the embodiment of the brutality she sought to abolish. The events of October 1st, 1553 marked the beginning of a reign soaked in blood and tears. Mary Tudor's marriage to Philip II of Spain wasn't a romantic tale, but a ruthless power play. On July 25th, 1554, as the ink on their marriage treaty was barely dry, Mary shackled herself to an alliance with Spain's might to cement Catholic influence in England. This was no accident. Every move was calculated. The treaty ensured that no foreigner would hold office at court. This placated those fearing outside interference. But don't let this blind you to the treaty's true purpose, an overt endorsement of a crusade against heretics. Philip was not just a marital partner, he was the war machine Mary needed to crush dissenting voices. Historical documents detail every calculated move of Mary's secret council, where the fates of thousands were decided in clandestine meetings. Those branded as heretics felt fear press heavily upon their backs. They were hunted like animals, their lives suffocated by arrest warrants and torture. Mary's Privy Council became the terrifying arm, dealing devastation and despair. By consolidating power through marriage and religious repression, Mary not only fortified Catholic dominance, but also sowed terror into the hearts of dissenters. This wasn't merely a political maneuver, it was a psychological campaign intended to crush the spirits of an entire nation. In 1555, hellfire erupted across England. Mary Tudor had transformed her resolve into a living nightmare, and the English people bore its horrific brunt. The peak of the Marian persecutions had arrived, its brutality unmasked for all to see. A chilling 283 Protestants were burned at the stake for heresy, a number that could only be defined as religious terror. Cold-blooded historical records detail what transpired on October 16, 1555, when the Oxford Martyrs, Hugh Latimer and Nicholas Ridley, were tied to stakes in Oxford's Broad Street. Crowds gathered to witness this ghastly scene, thinking it would instill fear. Yet the martyrs' steadfast faith turned them into symbols of resistance. The executions were conducted with ruthless precision. The executioners followed a bloody handbook to the letter, from pouring oil over the pyres to igniting living flesh. Latimer, before being engulfed by flames, shouted, We shall this day light such a candle in England as I trust shall never be put out. These words echo through the centuries as an indictment against Mary's regime. In 1556, Mary furthered her crusade by executing Thomas Cranmer, Archbishop of Canterbury, the man who had annulled her mother's marriage to Henry VIII. This wasn't just personal vengeance. She sought to obliterate his legacy. Before his death, Cranmer recanted his previous confessions and denounced Mary. In his final moments, he thrust his right hand, the hand that had signed his recantations, into the fire first and declared, "This hand shall burn first." Each execution only steeled the resolve within Protestant ranks. Survivors etched every painful detail into memory. They turned martyrs into living legends. Stories of courage amidst flames spread like wildfire through villages. Mary Tudor hoped these horrific acts would deter heresy, but she only forged new icons for the Reformation movement. The fires she stoked couldn't extinguish belief. Instead, they illuminated a path for growing defiance. Picture this. Your empire is collapsing, not from external enemies, but from the very flames you ignited. This was the state of Mary Tudor in 1558. Her reign, forged in blood and iron, was crumbling under the weight of the brutality she sowed. Disease gnawed at her body, like resentment gnawed at her people. The screams from public executions still echoed in the minds of her subjects, a symphony of suffering. In January 1558, Calais, an English stronghold on the continent, fell to France. For Mary, losing Calais was more than losing land. It symbolized the shattering of her European dominion dreams. In surviving council records, Simon Renard urged her to stop these futile executions. He understood that each execution was another nail in her political coffin. But Mary didn't listen. She was haunted by the belief that only pain could purify England's soul. Yet the fires she kindled turned back to consume her. Mary's deteriorating health mirrored the decay of her regime. When Mary died on November 17, 1558, it wasn't a tragedy, but a long-awaited release from a tyrannical rule soaked in blood and tears. The legacy she left wasn't peace or religious unity, but a deep scar in history and a collective memory of fear and suffering. Mary Tudor couldn't sustain the power she claimed through blood and fire. Advisors like Renard knew that to rule required mercy and wisdom, qualities Mary sorely lacked. Her legacy is not just Bloody Mary, but a bitter lesson in power and fanaticism. Mary Tudor's legacy is a tapestry woven with blood and tears. Bloody Mary isn't merely a moniker, but a historical curse etched into humanity's psyche. A vivid warning of religious brutality. Her reign wasn't only about the burning pyres, it was a symphony of suffering, a confrontation with the very essence of conscience. In 1559, the Elizabethan religious settlement wasn't just a simple response, but an endeavor to erase Mary's shadow. Elizabeth I sought not merely to avoid her sister's mistakes. She was determined to restore equilibrium to a fractured nation. Documents from that era reveal Elizabeth writing, "Unity cannot be forged by sword and flame." Survivors of Mary's persecutions weren't just victims. They became living icons of faith's power and resilience. Tales of the martyrs turned into legends, spreading across generations like an unquenchable fire. Mary's reign left an indelible mark not only on the populace, but on English policy and law itself. The remnants of that era forced lawmakers to reconsider their duty towards religious freedom. History records that Bloody Mary became a stark warning for future rulers. The deepest consequence was perhaps the lasting impact on the Catholic Church itself. As memories of Mary's reign faded, the Church was compelled to alter its approach to regain trust from the English public. Mary's failure became a costly lesson in the dangers of using violence as a tool for faith enforcement. Some may view Mary's unwavering loyalty to her religious convictions as admirable. However, history is unforgiving. Steadfastness does not justify inhumane cruelty. Mary Tudor's legacy is a painful lesson in blind zealotry and its devastating repercussions.